Today, we talk about
Last car wash. It's as fresh as I could get you. Obviously, always missing spots, but it is what it is. Gotta say, I think I took pretty good care of you, gal. Or was it a guy? I did technically name him Dynamite because it is a transformer with this drop. Am I right? I think for a car this expensive and modern, there'd be a, automatic method to opening the trunk, but you gotta push and pull once it unlocks on its own. And that was kind of annoying, but it is what it is. Ah, my old Lakers towel. So back when I used to actually play sports and basketball and sweat my ass off, I actually bought these authentic Lakers bench towels from back in their their last championship seasons, back in 2010. And I would put one on the bottom cover and one on the top. Why don't I actually just do that? So this is what I would do. One towel on the back cover to cover my sweaty back, and one down here to cover my sweaty ass. Lakers, I feel like Kobe. So yeah, that was me sitting on the bench. So this is kind of last minute. This is the last time I'm gonna see this car. It is Sunday, July 22nd. And yeah, it's bittersweet, And I had a whole thing planned with a bunch of drone shots and some fancy voiceovers and me wearing a suit, shots like this. And I was like in the shower countless times over the past 2 years, just thinking of like the perfect song to use and this and that. And yeah, it never materialized. It was just like every time I attempted to do it, it was just so much work that it just discouraged me, especially during those dark times, in the early days. I just knew I couldn't compete with the professional car reviewers on TV, Top Gear and all them. But I also couldn't compete with the smaller guys doing those nice car review channels on YouTube. And so that was also discouraging. Although now I'm over it because, look, this is my personal ish. Y'all gonna watch it or you ain't. But I ain't gonna put in all that much more effort into it just to be discouraged to do it. So I'm putting in just enough effort into this video to allow my personality and my personal experience with this beautiful machine to be communicated to the world. And that's what matters. So here we is. So I guess I'll just start with some package that came with like the M series, more race car-ish steering wheel type situation, but I actually thought that looked worse than this. I thought this looked much better, so I'm glad I stuck with it. So the one qualm I had, among a few, was that I wish the cruise control-ish was on this side and the music control-ish was on this side, because when I'm driving, I like to use my left hand and just to chill with my right hand down here like, yo, what's up, dude? Hey, how you doing? Hey, what's up? What it do, cuz? And then just like control the music like this. But in this kind of scenario, that's not really possible. So I had to like adjust to use my right hand. Didn't like that, but it is what it is. It does have the paddle shifters for the gears. Had a, sports mode that you could go into, which you could watch on the screen here, which I'll just show you right now what it looks like. All the little buttons and everything. Really cool display. I would say one of the best. This one coming with a heads-up display, which you can see there. That would, honestly, I don't know how I could ever go back to another car that doesn't have a heads-up display like that. First of all, it made me feel like I was playing Halo every day. And secondly, it was just so dope to be able to like have the navigation and the arrows and everything on the screen, so I wouldn't have to constantly look down at the screen here. So that was pretty OD. And also, you know, the speedometer. So I never ever, I want to say rarely looked at this. Even when your gas gets low. So like, first of all, I love how they tell you how many miles you have to go before you have to fill up again, as opposed to like how much gas is left. I mean, obviously you can look at that info too, but it's much more helpful to me to know, you know, how many miles I have left. The time, the temperature, you can also adjust this. Yep, so it'll tell you, you know, whatever you want to know. Another qualm ahead, and a tip to y'all who are thinking about getting a lease. Do not get more miles than you think you'll need. This is 34,000 miles I put on this car in 3 years, on a 3-year lease, where I had up to 15,000 miles per year. That's 45,000 miles I was given, and I used literally 11,000 less. So I almost used almost a year less worth of miles. That is pathetic. You can always buy more miles. You cannot ask them to take off miles. So do not treat this like an unlimited cell phone plan or like a high gigabyte cell phone plan. Like, nah, just buy more miles if you think you're gonna need them. So that was another mistake with this car. Now, one of the dopest features was the fact that this came with both heated seats and cooled seats. Heated seats were dope, especially in the fall time when I wanted to put the top down and drive through a breeze if I didn't have a jacket with me. And a lot of people, you know, were kind of bitching to me like, oh dude, what are you gonna do in the winter with a convertible? I was like, bruh, the windows still work and there is a top, like the top does come down. So yeah, that's one thing. So that's great. Like, this is definitely a year-round car. Like, convertibles these days, especially because it's automatic. 19 seconds, I think it was, or 15 seconds, one or the other, for like the time to have it come back up and the time to come back down. And you can do it up to 25 miles per hour. So as long as you're within 25 miles per hour driving, you don't have to get out of the car to adjust the top, take the top down. It just all comes down automatically, which I've demonstrated in previous videos, so I'm not going to do it right now. Another complaint I have, though, is that the cooled seats did not work that well at all. Very few occasions I felt like it was working. I mean, I could feel the seat and see that there was definitely cool coming out of the seat, but as far as like, did it actually have a good effect? Nah, I couldn't feel it. Rarely, if ever. Also, I love how I attempt to do one of these outdoor videos. Someone decides to mow their lawn, but it is what it is. Now, I gotta say, I'm not a huge fan of driving. I actually hate driving, which always confused a lot of people because they're like, why do you have a nice car? Oh, you have such a nice car, you must love driving. Like, nah, they're not one and the same. I was just like, yo, if I'm gonna be miserable, I might as well be miserable in a nice car. But, you know, some people will complain, and that can kind of tell by all the dust I like collecting this car. It's like, pretty nasty. There's the heads-up display, by the way. A ton of dirt on it. Do something. Now, I thought my last trip with this was going to be the last time I showed this off, and it was actually kind of poetic because that was the last time I thought I was actually going to drive this car, let alone to New York City. And I had just, this is where I put all my toll chains, because I don't know why I didn't choose to use Easy Pass. I guess because I knew this was a 3-year lease, and I was only going to be here another 3 years, so I decided no reason. I don't know why. I probably should have gotten an Easy Pass. But anyway, yeah. Is that a dead bug in there? I guess so. But yeah, I would always use a spare change. Wow, it is really dusty in this bitch. And I just created some more change because I just got my apartment. So yeah, unofficially announcing, I officially got that apartment I was psyched about. Can't wait to show y'all more. But anyway, what else can I say about this beautiful thing? Oh, so there is a back seat, but as you can see, barely any room in there. I could not comfortably fit anybody in that back seat. So if I put someone in the back seat, this seat would have to come up a sizable, chunk. And could it fit? Sure. But in retrospect, I'm no longer worried about getting a 2-seater coupe versus a 4-seater convertible, because honestly, you know, if anyone knows anything about driving, it's majority of the time you're driving by yourself, forever alone. But for those few times that you are offering rides to other people, you're going to have a much more miserable time with 4 people in here or 3 as opposed to just having 2. So just have a 2-seater if it really comes down to it and you like a 2-seater type of car over a 4-seater. I would much prefer that, I think. You're not going to miss out much, trust me. The seats themselves, said to be one of the best seats ever made for a car, and it's very adjustable. Has a ton of custom settings. I really didn't use this much. I kind of just knew where I wanted to put it and just left it there. And I guess you could make it a lot more customizable to your needs, but to be honest with you, I didn't play with it much, and I didn't feel like they were the most comfortable chair ever. A lot of people that sat in this car said, you know, they didn't feel the most comfortable, but I think, you know, it was mostly because they weren't used to being so low to the ground, because you are so low to the ground. By the way, this little plate here is pretty cool, pretty cool. Another annoying thing, when you use your hand to unlock the door, that's pretty dope, especially because you're going to be, like I said, in this car a lot by yourself. But the rare times that you're actually picking someone up or offering someone to get in the car, by opening up your door, it doesn't automatically open up their door, which I'm sure is just a safety thing, but it's just kind of annoying because then when you sit down, you got to press this to open the door or use your key. But the whole point of having a keyless entry is so that the key can stay in your pocket. But anyway, so if I ever wanted to let someone in, I would have to press this button. But when you press it, it doesn't always open the door right away. So sometimes I would have to press it 2 or 3 times to get it to open, but it is what it is. With that said, this display was OD. At the time, I don't know if it still holds true, but at the time when I bought it brand new, or leased it brand new, this was the largest display screen on the market. And I gotta say, BMW's UI, user interface with all the different buttons, it seems intimidating if you've never had one before, but honestly, it was so intuitive. You could actually draw letters on this or numbers for the navigation, which made it much easier and safer to you know, plug in navigation coordinates if you wanted to. Navigation was fairly reliable, but honestly, there was a ton of times where I was just inputting a, you know, location that's literally down the road and it couldn't find it. It was just so freaking annoying. So you'd have to put in exact coordinates after you know, Google mapped it, which was always annoying. But otherwise, the Bluetooth was fairly reliable. Occasionally, it would just have a lot of issues with connectivity, but really convenient to, you know, either hook in with the aux cable or just go Bluetooth and play your ish, or aux, not aux cable before, I meant the USB. But yeah, aux is also an option, rarely used it, but it is what it is. The only annoying thing was you couldn't attach a new device, like if a friend got in the car, they couldn't attach their device unless the car was at a standstill. So that was kind of annoying. You'd have to remember to do that before you know, got in the car. Rarely, if ever, use the CD player, whatever. You know, push to start, always cool. This was a little annoying at first. This was kind of like a auto off thing, so that anytime you're not in sports mode, like in comfort mode or you know, eco-friendly mode, which was cool, you know, you'd save some gas, but to be honest with you, I wasn't noticing myself saving a ton of gas, and just the driving felt muted and already boring as hell, so I was just like, nah. And anytime you hit the brakes in those modes, or when this is in this position, aka on, then anytime you touch the brakes, you turn off the engine, which seems cool and eco-friendly, but then if you're just like in stop and go traffic like all day, or like for a certain segment of the road, it's just so annoying to have your car turn off and on all the time. So I just went to, you know, always having it off. What else can I say? Really not much else, dude. This was a great experience, I gotta say. You know, I'm not gonna go under the hood because I don't know shit about that stuff. I don't know ish about, you know, the details of cars. There was a time when I was, you know, shopping around for cars and I was really super geeked out about the engineering and the physics behind cars and turbocharging and torque and all those kinds of things. So I've since forgotten it. It's not as much of a passion for me as it used to be, so I don't really follow it as much. Same thing with all the car shows. I don't really follow it as much, so I don't want to bore you with that. Plus, it would make this video a lot longer to edit. But I just want to say, you know, some will clown me for how much I spent for this car. It was very expensive. For a lease that, you know, I'm just going to turn in and is going to turn it to dust, so it's a depreciating asset, so it's kind of a waste. But and on top of the fact that I literally did 1 year less worth of miles, so I really got fleeced for this car. And I paid extra because, you know, I got the convertible version, and I got it new instead of getting it used from, like, you know, what was that, swap a lease or whatever. But honestly, all in all, it was worth it. It was my experience, my car. You know, I took very good care of it. Kind of, you know, I didn't take it for a wash every week like some of my other friends do with theirs, but, you know, it is what it is. You know, I got my exact specs. I didn't compromise on the options I wanted. I didn't get the V8. I did test drive the V8 version, the 650i, instead of this 640i version. But again, because I'm not such a car guy, I didn't care about not having the 650i because I knew I wasn't going to be hanging out with car dudes all that much, or really anybody, to be honest with you. So I wasn't really worried about, you know, not being able to flex the 650 version. But trust me, test driving that dude, wow, that thing was a beast. Like, it's a noticeable difference. Oof, it was a monster. But it's actually kind of good that I didn't get that because I probably would have killed myself. Well, not by suicide, just like I would have had a stupid accident. What else? But yeah, I mean, overall, yeah, just a little bittersweet because some of the things I do regret about it. as far as you know, how much money I lost to it, and you know, it's gonna just disappear like this. And I already hated driving to begin with, and a lot of my driving was just like in a straight line as a commute to work. And you know, you can't really take full advantage of a car like this. I might as well just been, you know, driving my old car, the Honda Accord. But I mean, there's a lot of memories I had in this car. One of the main reasons, if not the only reason I got the drop top, is because I literally wanted to be able to have it down, go to New York City, and be able to stare up at the skyscrapers. And I've shown that in some previous videos, but in person it's just a whole nother thing. And I love that. It was whew, OD, to put it lightly. Yeah, I mean, it's again, it's bittersweet because I built a lot of memories in this car, and I had this whole freaking cinematic experience. But I've come to terms with the fact that alone, putting a video together like that, A, is going to burn me out for future content, and B, just, you know, I don't have that kind of audience for a car video like that, so I'm not really worried about competing with the big boss. So you know, this is just my personal experience with this car. So you know, turning it in and have the memories I have with it, the pictures I have with it, and that'll be that. You know, I don't regret the experience because I had a great time in it, but I'm looking forward to not having a car and just living in New York City without the hassles of a car, man. I hate it, man. Worrying about tickets and gas and getting into accidents and insurance and looking for cops and all the other, you know, looking for parking, all this, you know, stupid stuff. So, you know, no hate on people that love cars, but hopefully I've given you some different insight into, you know, how this car works. I know I didn't do like a comprehensive review or go through all the specs or whatever, but I don't give a fuck. You can look that up yourself or look at someone else that did a better video on this, you know. Yeah, bittersweet. The other thing I loved about this car was, like, I treated it, because I'm such a Beast Wars Transformers fan, I named this beautiful thing Dinobot, and it was like my personal transformer because I could get into beast mode by you know, having the top come down. I was going to plan like this whole corny ass cringe cinematic transformation bit. I was going to like strap in a Beast War into the passenger side and like make a whole skit about it. But yeah, alas, it wasn't meant to be. But that's okay. I'm sure I'll have a car in the future, maybe a bigger, badder car. Wouldn't be bad to have another version of this in the future, just to see how things went. But yeah, BMW was just a great experience as a car. The dealership, not as great of an experience, but that's, you know, a specific dealership, and that's their problem. Not that it was all bad, you know, parts of it were great, but you know, idiot would it. Anyway, yeah, this was fun. I gotta get going. I gotta catch my flight back to Iowa, but yeah, I'll edit in something else if I think of anything. Bye.